Welcome, friend, to Sleep West. Tonight, we ride to a place just outside San Duro, Arizona, where a man named Logan Reed gave water to a stranger and woke up to find 200 warriors outside his fence. You think you know where this is headed? Trust me, you don't. Not until the very last line. So lean back, let the fire crackle, and listen close. The sun was slipping low behind the red rocks. Logan Reed stood by the fence line, one boot on the lowest rail, chewing on a toothpick, watching the dust settle across the empty land. He was 35, a rancher, worked alone, lived alone, ever since his wife and kids vanished. 2 years back, he didn't stray far from the land, and the land didn't stray far from him. Then he saw something strange. Just beyond the lower creek bed, a figure slumped near the rocks. Logan grabbed his canteen, hopped the fence, and walked slow, real slow. Logan crossed the flat, quiet land, hand on his canteen, boots pressing down dust older than memory. He moved careful, like the desert might swallow a man whole if he walked too loud. Then he saw him, a man, slumped near the creek, skin burnt from the sun, feathers torn, arm wrapped in blood-soaked cloth. Apache. Logan crouched beside him, eyes half closed, barely breathing. Looked like he'd been shot, maybe 2 days back. Logan pulled the cork on his canteen and tilted it slow. The man's lips cracked. He drank like it hurt, then passed out again. Logan looked around. No tracks, no horse, just this man, dying in the dust. Logan laid the man down on the old cot in the barn, pulled the door shut, lit the lantern. He didn't ask questions, not yet. Just boiled water, cleaned the wound best he could, wrapped it tight, fresh cloth, real careful. The Apache didn't stir. Logan left a bucket of water nearby, set down a piece of cornbread, then stepped back out into the dark. Beat. Inside his house, the fire crackled low. Logan poured himself a cup of coffee, sat by the window, looked out toward the barn. The sky was black and wide. Something didn't feel right. Not bad, just heavy, like a wind was coming, but not the kind you could see. He didn't sleep that night, just sat in the chair, coffee gone cold, watching the barn. The next morning, Logan stepped out into the sun. The air was still, sky clear. Inside the barn, the man was still breathing. Fever had dropped a little. Logan left him water, bread, and a blanket, then saddled his horse and rode into town. Silver Ridge was just a row of wood and dust. General store, saloon, one old church. He tied up outside the store, pushed the door open, grabbed flour, coffee, jerky. But as he reached for a can of beans, he heard it. 2 men whispering near the back counter. One old, one young, both dusty from the trail. You hear about Red Hand? They say he vanished, got himself shot. Storm rolled in the same night. Chief's going crazy. Sent scouts across the whole damn desert. Logan froze. That name, he knew it now. The man in his barn. was Red Hand, the Apache war scout, one of Chief Akacetta's sons. Logan paid quiet and left, rode home slow. Every hoofbeat sounded louder than the last, and by the time he saw his barn through the dust, he knew they'd be coming. Logan was fixing the gate when he heard it. Not hooves, not yet, just the wind, changing. Then came the dust, a long, slow cloud moving across the basin. Logan stepped up onto his porch, hand resting on the rifle near the door, but didn't pick it up. Then he saw them. First, just a few, then 50, then hundreds, painted faces, feathers, spears and bows, horses lined shoulder to shoulder across the ridge. 200 Apache warriors. Logan didn't move. Inside the barn, Red Hand still lay on the cot, barely conscious. Then, a single rider broke from the line, tall, broad, war paint on his chest, a long eagle feather tied in his braid. Chief Akacetta. He rode up alone, stopped 10 paces from Logan's gate, raised his hand. Chief, calm but thunder behind it. You have taken what is not yours. Logan stepped off the porch, voice steady. Logan, he was dying. I gave him water, that's all. Akacetta's eyes burned into him. Behind him, the warriors stayed silent. Not a single horse shifted. Chief, you don't know what you've done. Beat. Fire crackles. A hawk cries overhead. And then, a voice behind Logan, weak, dry, but firm. Red Hand had stepped out from the barn, one arm in a sling, blanket around his shoulders. Red Hand, he saved my life, father. Akacetta turned, and his jaw clenched. He dismounted and walked toward his son. Slow, looked him in the eye. Then he turned to Logan. Akacetta gritted. If he were truly innocent, he would have brought you to us. Instead, he kept you hidden. That is not honor. That is crime. He raised his hand. Warriors seized Logan, tied his hands, took his rifle, stripped his belt. Logan didn't fight. Logan, quiet. Do what you need to do. They shoved him into a dark tent, cloth walls, earth floor. One warrior sat in the corner, silent, unmoving. Logan glanced around. Hand-woven tapestries lined the walls. Ceremonial blades, dried herbs, clay bowls. And one shelf held something that didn't fit. A few faded photographs, pinned crookedly against a wooden beam. One photo caught Logan's eye. A woman, mid-40s, long black hair streaked with gray, stern eyes, a calm strength in her face, standing beside a younger Akacetta, hand resting firm on his shoulder. Logan leaned in. Logan, quiet. Who's she? The warrior looked over, hesitated a second. Tribal warrior, low. The chief's wife. She left us near a year ago, angry over things she wouldn't say. He thought she'd come back when her heart softened, beat, but she never did. Logan's eyes narrowed. Logan, low, stunned. I saw her. The warrior straightened. Logan, firmer. 6 months ago, south of Silver Ridge, she was walking the market road. Then a group of riders came in, took her off the street. Tribal warrior. Who were they? Logan met his eyes, unblinking. Logan, I'll only tell the chief. Moments later, the tent flap burst open. Akacetta stepped inside, face tight with panic, eyes wide like he hadn't breathed in hours. He dropped to a knee in front of Logan. Akacetta, low, urgent. What did you say? Logan, steady. I saw her taken. I know who has her. The chief clenched his jaw. One hand braced on the ground. His voice dropped, cracked. Akacetta, why didn't you tell me? Logan, calm. Didn't owe you anything until now. A beat passed, the kind that hangs heavy in a man's chest. Then Akacetta stood, slowly, turned to his guards. Akacetta, shouting, "Leave us!" The warriors stepped out without a word. Akacetta faced Logan again, quieter now. Akacetta, where? Logan, south of Silver Ridge, 6 months ago. She was in the market road. Then 4 men rode in, dark coats, no tribal marks. Took her in broad daylight. The chief stepped back, eyes darted. His voice was gravel now. Akacetta, bone earrings, red feathers tied to the reins. Logan nods. Exactly that. Akacetta's hands began to tremble. He turned away, pressing his knuckles to his mouth, silent. Then he spoke, quieter than before. Akacetta, they were the Red Butte exiles, my enemies. Years ago I banished them for what they did. They've been waiting for a reason. Beat. They took her to hurt me. Logan said nothing. Until, Logan, they took 2 others that day too. My younger brothers. Akacetta's breath hitched. He turned slowly, studied Logan's face. The pain, the weight, the quiet fury. Something inside the chief shifted. Then he lowered himself onto a stool, looked at the floor. Akacetta, quietly. She left after a fight. I scolded her that morning, foolish pride. Told her she wasn't honoring the ancestors. Said things I shouldn't have. Beat. She walked out. Didn't take a horse. Didn't take water. I thought she'd cool her anger. I waited. She never came back. His fingers tightened into fists. Akacetta. I searched for her for months, sent scouts, prayers, signs. I thought the spirits punished me. Logan sat up straighter. Logan, she's alive. But if those men took her for revenge, they'll use her to draw you out. The chief's eyes went cold. He stood, walked to Logan, pulled a blade from his belt, but instead of threat, he cut Logan's bindings. Akacetta, low, sharp. You are no longer a prisoner. You are my brother now. Logan, jaw tight. I'm riding with you. They took my blood, same as yours. Akacetta nodded once, solemn. Akacetta, fierce. Then go, get your horse, be ready before the sun breaks the ridgeline. He stepped out of the tent, raised his voice to the camp. Akacetta, shouting, prepare the horses. We ride at dawn, for our queen, and for their blood. The moon hung low over the hills, casting silver light across Logan's path. He rode hard, wind in his coat, boots caked in red dust. No sound but the steady rhythm of his horse and the echoes in his head. His brothers, taken, the chief's wife, alive but in chains. He gripped the reins tighter. For the first time in years, Logan had purpose again. He crested the ridge near his ranch. Below, the outline of his barn, quiet in the dark. He didn't even go inside. He dropped to his knees beside the old shed, pulled up a floorboard, and reached in. Inside, a rusted, hand-forged revolver, his father's. He stared at it for a long second, then holstered it and stood tall. As the first pale streak of dawn cracked the sky, Logan turned toward the canyon trail. He crested the ridge near his ranch. Below, the outline of his barn, quiet in the dark. He didn't even go inside. He dropped to his knees beside the old shed, pulled up a floorboard, and reached in. Inside, a rusted, hand-forged revolver, his father's. He stared at it for a long second, then holstered it and stood tall. As the first pale streak of dawn cracked the sky, Logan turned toward the canyon trail. Logan rode through the cold silence, his boots heavy in the stirrups, his chest heavier still. That morning, he'd been a rancher. Tonight, he was a brother to a tribe, a man with blood on the line, and a trail to follow at sunrise. He didn't know if his brothers were alive. He didn't know what waited out in those hills. But he knew this. He wasn't riding alone anymore. He was done burying the past. Now, he was digging it up. You want to know what happened when Logan and the chief found those raiders? What they were hiding, and who else they took? Then comment below for part 2, and subscribe to Sleep West. We'll ride again real soon. Until then, sleep easy, friend. You're out here in the West now.